Professor Breckeisen here, and in this tutorial we're going to look at how to set up your documents so that you can get the resolution that you need so that your closest image is 1920 by 1080 and your furthest part of your image can be whatever it is that you need for the movement of your camera. So first, let's take a look at how this is going to kind of relate down in the next project so that you can kind of see where we're going. So here is this 3D matte painting concept that I've broken down. It's just an image I broke into layers, and you can see that we are moving our camera. Let me turn off the caps lock here so we can see it. We are moving our camera into this space. And on the right-hand side here, you're going to see that this is kind of like behind the camera, the virtual digital camera inside of After Effects that we're working with. That the closest, meaning that when our camera is inside the scene the furthest, and it stops right here, this should be 1920 by 1080. This area right here. So that when we zoom out of that area, that's going to be larger than 1920 by 1080. So we're going to zoom into the 1920 by 1080 so we're not losing any resolution, but we're starting somewhere wider. So let's take a look at how that's going to work. So let's say we're going to use this one down here as our example. So I'm going to go to Command New. I'm going to probably select something that's going to be larger than 1920 by 1080. I'm not going to start with a 1920 by 1080 document because I'm not going to have enough space to come out to the back from. You can do the calculations yourself about what you need and how far you're going to do that. If you're not really sure right now, I recommend that you use 2400 by 1350, and that's going to give you about 20% to play with. And so when I click create, we now have that size of a composition to work with. If you want, and this is a really cool little pro tip, we're going to create an overlay to know where 1920 by 1080 is going to be. To do that, we're going to come down here on the left-hand side here where your tools are, and you might see it as a line tool originally because that's kind of the first tool I think that shows there, but if you click and hold, you're going to get this rectangle tool, and all you need to do is just come over here somewhere and just click. You'll get this dialog and type in 1920 by 1080. And of course, if you're using different resolutions later on at different projects, you can go ahead and change that. Once you click OK, it's going to give you this gigantic black square. But you can change these up here, the fill and the stroke. The fill is the color that's the inside, and the stroke is the line that's around the outside. So I could just click the color here, the black color, and I can set this to transparent, which is this white with the red line through it. So now it's a transparent layer, so we can't see it. But I'm going to change the stroke from black to, let's say, red, just to make it a little more visible. And I can increase the amount of pixels that are on there to a little bit more like this. And now I can move this around and I know that I'm going to be moving into my image about this much. And this will help me to prepare and to plan as I'm working with my image. So for example, if I was using this as my document, because that's the one we were working with, and I knew I was going to move my camera in, I now know how far I can move in before where I know where 1920 by 1080 is. And this tells me that I can either start where it's red like this and move out, or I can start where it's larger like this and I can move in when I bring that into After Effects a little bit later. So hopefully that gives you kind of a good understanding of how to set up your document. The numbers are something I can't tell you what to choose. Again, that's for you, but 2400 or I wrote down here 24 by 1350 is a good kind of like 20%-ish starting point if that's something that you need, if you just need something to help you kind of get started. All right, look forward to seeing your paintings. Thanks.